I'm going to tell you all about our current call for entries through the Finch Lane Gallery 2022 Flash Projects. Applications are due by December 6th by 5 p.m. What I'm going to go over are a brief overview of where to access information about Finch Lane Flash Projects and the application, a brief overview of the Salt Lake City Arts Council and Finch Lane Gallery, an overview of what Flash Projects are, some application tips, and if there are any questions, some time at the end for those. Okay, so you can access information about the Salt Lake City Arts Council on our website, saltlakearts.org. And to get info about anything to do with the Finch Lane Gallery, you'd go over to the Finch Lane Gallery page. Here's the web address directly to the Finch Lane Gallery, but I'm going to show you how to navigate to that page through our main page. Okay, here we go. So we're on the main page, and up at this top bar, you go over to programs. You can click directly on Finch Lane Gallery. That'll take you to all Finch Lane Gallery programs. Or if you want to go directly to the Flash Projects page, you go over here and click on Flash Projects. And on both the Finch Lane Gallery page and the Flash Projects page, we've got a link to access the application guidelines. So you can either click this image or you can click this button, Learn More. And that'll take you to this PDF of the call for entries guidelines. It also includes a link directly to the submittable application to submit your application. But before applying, I recommend you read over all the guidelines on this PDF. It gives you the materials that you'll need for your application and shares with you what the review criteria and selection process will be, as well as other info. You'll notice my email right here has the number 2 on it. Either that email address or the one without the 2 will get to me. Okay, so let me make this fill up the screen again. Okay, so a little bit about the Salt Lake City Arts Council. We're here basically to support Utah-based artists and arts organization and expand awareness and access and engagement with the arts and help individual artists and arts organizations develop their art projects. There's several programs within the Salt Lake City Arts Council. They include the Public Art Program, Living Traditions, Twilight Concerts, Freelance Programming, Finch Lane Gallery, as well as several other programs. We are located in the Art Barn. It's a historic building in Reservoir Park. The address is 54 Finch Lane, Salt Lake City. But to give you a general idea of where it's at, it's right next to Reservoir Park. It's in between First South and South Temple and 1300 East and University Street. And it's within the Art Barn where we have the Finch Lane Gallery. The Finch Lane Gallery is 2 rooms or gallery spaces. When we have exhibitions, we usually have one exhibition in the East Gallery and one in the West Gallery, which I'll also show you a photo of. And Flash Projects are welcome to utilize both gallery spaces. The East Gallery is the larger of the 2 spaces. It's about 900 square feet. And it's the first gallery space you enter when you enter the building. Here's the entrance right here, those 2 steps leads into the East Gallery. We've also got a ramp right there for wheelchair access. This is the West Gallery. There's doors from the East Gallery that lead directly into the West Gallery. The West Gallery also has 2 sliding glass doors that lead to a patio. And you're also welcome to propose utilizing the patio in your Flash Project proposal. And we have had some Flash Projects use it. And it's a little bit more than half the size of the East Gallery. Here's another photo of the West Gallery. You can see the 2 doors that lead from the East Gallery into the West Gallery. Some Flash Project proposals have had sort of a transition between occurrences within the Flash Project between these 2 gallery spaces. So, you're welcome to utilize both spaces in your proposal. In addition to space, we can also offer some other resources. We have several pedestals in a range of sizes. We've got some digital media. Though if you utilize any of the digital media, the expectation is that you know how to use it or you learn how to use it so that you're able to, take care of all the technical issues yourself. And we will promote your Flash Project across our platforms. And in addition, we give you a $250 honorarium per accepted Flash project, and this is given within 30 days following the completion of a project. Okay, so this current call for entries is for 2022 Finch Lane Flash projects. The applications are due December 6th by 5 p.m. And again, the guidelines and link to apply can be found on our website, saltlakearts.org. You just want to navigate either to the Finch Lane Gallery page or the Flash Projects page. And so a little bit more specifics about Flash projects. So what are they? So they're a relatively new initiative. 2022 will be our third year doing them. Our first year was 2020. And our Flash projects have largely occurred since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. So they usually take that into account. You know, sometimes we have to follow current safety measures to actualize Flash projects. These are short-term, interdisciplinary, community-oriented, and/or experimental projects. So they sort of utilize a traditional contemporary gallery space and bring it into something different beyond a traditional exhibition. So like, we say here they're interdisciplinary, they're community-oriented, and experimental use of the space. And we hold 3 of them each year. And the timeline is that they range from, up to a few minutes, up to 5 days in duration. And in addition to the digital media that I mentioned before, you can also use our banquet tables, seating, our half kitchen. Here are just some examples of what Flash projects could be and have been. But your applications are really telling us what Flash projects can be. Because as mentioned, they're an experimental use of a gallery space. So your applications are kind of telling us the possibilities of Flash projects. So they can be performances, interdisciplinary art festivals, sound and audio works, fashion shows, literary events, workshops, film screenings, community gatherings, panel discussions, immersive art installations, research presentations, any other arts and culture related projects. If you can dream it up in a gallery space, then it might be appropriate to apply as a Flash project. As I mentioned, we hold 3 sessions annually, and these are the date ranges for 2022. Each of these date ranges are inclusive of your setup and deinstallation. In some circumstances, we can do deinstallation on the Sunday following the state range, so each of these end dates are a Saturday, but in general, I prefer that you have your setup and deinstallation occur within the state range. But as needed, I try to be flexible with time for Flash projects. Okay, Flash project applications are reviewed by Arts Council staff and past artists who have had Flash projects. Some tips and advice for applications. So these initial tips are for basically applying for any art application. Make sure you always pay keen attention to the review criteria listed in the call for guidelines so that you know what the jury is looking for in your application. And again, that review criteria are on those guidelines that are accessible through our website. Always begin your application early. This seems obvious, but I feel like once you start getting it down on paper or typed up in computer screen, ideas come to you as you're working on other things. If you wait to the last minute and submit it last minute, often, more ideas come to you after you've already submitted and it's too late. So, you can always save it and come back to it. And I just mentioned this, ideas can come to you. Okay, also outline a plan of action to make sure your proposal is feasible. I mean, if it's not feasible for you, usually the jury is able to see that it's not a feasible application. Make sure you have clear documentation of your work examples. And I think this one's really important. It's usually good to ask someone to read over your application. And this person that you have read over your application, I would say, don't give them any preliminary information about your application. Just present them the application itself and allow them to say back to you what you applied with, just to make sure that they understand fully your application. Anybody joining late, I'm recording this, so it'll be available on your website. I'm just giving a general overview about Flash Project and tips for applications, and I'll have time for your questions in just a minute. Okay. Some more general application tips. Elaborate on anything that you present in your application. Assume that the jury reading your application knows nothing about what you are proposing. Unpack your claims and themes, be specific and provide details. Avoid jargon if you can, or if you use it, unpack it. Assume that your audience is completely fresh to the idea that you are presenting. And just, yeah, make sure anyone could understand your intentions. Someone that doesn't know you, doesn't know your background, doesn't know your project at all, just make sure that the way you've written it out on paper, someone coming completely fresh could understand what you are proposing. Okay, so application tips specific to Flash projects. Demonstrate a need of support unique to this program. And make sure that you can handle all components of your proposed project, and make sure that's demonstrated in your application that you can do that. And think of projects which are innovative and timely, because again, these are short-term projects. So think of something that, you know, would be engaging to the community, the local community. And also keep in mind that we may need to make alterations due to whatever the current COVID-19 safety regulations are at that time. Let's see. This is just some unsolicited pep talk and advice for any art application that you apply for. Like, keep in mind, there are so many talented artists out there, and there are a finite amount of opportunities. So if you don't get an opportunity that you apply for, please do not take it as a reflection on the quality or relevance of your creative practice. You don't know who else is applying. You don't know, you know, I guess there are so many factors going into it. And usually what I say is that when you apply for anything and you don't get the opportunity, that work is not wasted. That will usually support your future art applications. Also, writing out your ideas on paper always helps you reflect and understand your own art practice and helps you become a better artist. And have grit. Keep on applying for opportunities. In my own art career, I used to take rejections for anything that I applied for. I used to take those rejections really personally, but that was not sustainable. It made me not want to apply for projects. And once I learned to not take rejection personally, I applied for more and more projects, and it meant that I would get opportunities. But of course, the opportunities that you apply for, the ones that you receive, are a fraction of the amount that you actually apply for. So keep on applying to stuff. Okay, again, where to access information, you can go to our website, saltlakearts.org, and then up on this top bar, go to the programs. You can either click on Finch Lane Gallery or go directly to Flash Projects. And then near the top of the page, you'll be able to click on Learn More. For the application guidelines, over there at the top, there's a link directly to the application, but I'd read over the guidelines before applying, just to make sure you feel prepared. But again, once you get into the application itself, you can always save your work and come back to it again later. Also on this Flash project page, you can see examples of some past Flash projects. This is our most recent one. On this initial landing page are all 2021 Flash projects. At the bottom, you'll see a link right here for 2020 Flash projects. And that's as far back as they go, because this is, as I mentioned earlier, a pretty new initiative. 2020 was our first year doing them. So this, you know, was satire talks around Halloween in 2020, TED Talks, a satiric take on TED Talks, some work by Queer Spectra, work by Durian. This is the first Flash project, and this one was done prior to COVID-19 lockdown. Okay. And again, that's my email address if you have any further questions.